Hello, I'm the curator and this is today's item. This is a Raspberry Pi. A Raspberry Pi 2, as a matter of fact. This is a case bought for me with the Raspberry Pi itself by a friend. And it's good. It clips off, it's got a good amount of airflow. And it's very nice. Now here's the Pi itself. If you don't know what the Raspberry Pi is, it is a single board, very small form factor computer designed for hobbyists and education, to learn children how to code, basically, and learn just basically programming, learning Bash and other Linuxy stuff like that. Now it's a very nice case, as I've said, lots of holes. It's got a Ethernet port, 4 USB ports, from left to right, micro USB power, AC or whatever you want to call it, HDMI, and that 3.5mm jack is if you want to use composite, as I do, because I'll explain why in a moment. There you have the SD card slot. I'm using a 32GB SD card, and you see in the machine itself it's got a GPIO header which you can plug stuff into, like fans if you're cooling, or like screens or other such stuff. That's a display bit as well. That is actually the processor. It's a system on a chip, it's called. It's got the GPU, I believe it's got the RAM, processor's basically got everything in there. There's a couple of lights there, status lights, and you can see the camera thing there, and you can see the AB and HDMI from the top. Now, I use this as an emulation machine. I play a lot of games, and I've got a lot of consoles, and I really don't want them to degrade any further than they have. I mean, I've got a couple of my consoles here for size comparisons that you'll see in a moment, but I do want to sort of centralize all the games I have, and I'm using a RetroPie for that. It's sort of like it's not an entire operating system on its own. It uses Raspbian, which is a Raspberry Pi, I suppose you could say optimized version of Linux and Debian, or Debian, I don't know how to pronounce it. It works, basically. And I've got it installed on here. It's got plenty of emulators, a multi-emulator system. They're making more emulators work with it as we speak. The development is quite active on it, and it's very, very good. I have grown up with consoles and technology and computers, hence a lot of the items I have on this show, and it's amazing to have a computer, an all-in-one computer, such small size that it's able to do so much. You can do so much on these things. So a couple of people have sort of got like a rack of them, made them into a supercomputer. A lot of people doing the emulation things, they sort of watch them with a screen and some buttons, make it like into an arcade mabob. You could do all sorts with it, and it's just an amazing little machine. And I'm going to show you a thing, like I said, size comparison, and I'll leave the lid off for now, actually. This is my Sega Mega Drive. I think that's all I really need to say. This is a couple of 100 times more powerful than this. It's got 900 megahertz processor. You can overclock it. I am going to buy a heatsink for that. It's a little heatsink. I don't think you need to see the heatsink itself. It's just a shaped bit of aluminium, to be honest. It doesn't deserve a video on its own. But this is like, I can't remember the specs for this. It might be an 8 megahertz processor, I can't remember. Or is that the NES? I can't even remember. It's not as powerful as this, basically. I think this has got 700-800 megabytes of RAM. It's so diddy. I mean, I've got another size comparison. Hang on. These are two like Mega Drive games, Sonic 2 or Classic, these have got like, I don't know, together about like maximum of 8 megabytes of data on both of these. They are bigger than this. I mean, that just boggles my face. I cannot even believe that you can fit like actual computers into this size. I mean, I know that some of this, you know, like common knowledge for some people because of tablets and stuff like that, but it just boggles my mind. Especially as I had this when I was little. I had this when I was a little man. And PlayStation 2 as well, the slimline one. I have got the big one, but I've just got... I mean, look, I mean, this has got like a 299 megahertz processor. They say that, as it happens, the RetroPie team are saying that they're working on getting this working on this, and if they, you know, if they manage it, that will be astounding and fantastic. You won't be able to fit many games on my 32GB SD card, but it's a start. Is it worth getting one of these? Yes, it really is. It's very much worth it, especially if you're an emulation person like me. Even if you're learning how to program, or you just need a little computer for different tasks. I mean, I was thinking you could get an external audio DAC, or just like a external USB sound card. Get a tiny little monitor, use it. Get maybe a couple of, if you have them, a couple of MIDI controllers. Use it as like a touring computer if you use like LMMS or something like that. Or you could turn it into, you could use, you could get that little monitor power pack, and you could get a controller. You could have it as like a cheaper version of one of those open Pandora things, you know, the sort of portable console mabobs, and it would work just fine. I'm actually going to do, I'm actually going to try both of those in future days. After Decent's finished and I've bought all the parts for it, I am going to buy a couple of MIDI mabobs. I'll get a power pack. I'll say how it performs under those circumstances. But yeah, it is a fantastic little machine, and I am so glad that I have it. A friend who got it for me, you know who you are. Eternal, ever-loving thanks to you. And I think that's all I need to say. Get one. Really, seriously, just get one. Get one. Just get one. Get one. Get one. Get one. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching very much. Goodbye. Goodbye.